GMS, GMS. I know y'all like, yo, this dude is obsessed. Nah, I'm not obsessed. I think the quicker I can get some resolution to my questions through some of the smart GMS guys that right now I'll accept whoever is willing to help a fellow Israelite get closer to the Most High by way of answering some questions that I have. Don't brush me off by saying, "Oh, he's a scoffer." The fuck is wrong with y'all? You say that about anybody that opposes you or questions you? Anyway, GMS, I got some questions for you. And yes, these are questions concerning what you do. So it's for my learning, but maybe it's to help you. Anyway, I'll come with my question, but I am going to start it off with, it's going to be a build up to it. Anyway, it is understood that the Israelites were scattered abroad, right? Because, we're under the curses. And those curses will not be lifted from us until the Messiah come get us, the Most High come get us. Right? Now, until he come get us, everything that he spoke of, or what is spoken of in Deuteronomy, those things all the curses will remain. And it'll affect whoever is going to affect. Now, with that being said, if I pack up and leave the United States, or an Israelite pack up and leaves because they got the ability to, let's say, go to Israel on their own, I mean, I'm sure they're not going to escape the curses, but would that be like taking matters in their own hand and trying to escape what the Lord had put them in? He said, you will not see your homeland until, or never, or at least until, I come get you and I'll take you into your homeland. You won't see it. So if I take it upon myself, I'm in violation, right? I'm trying to take matters in my own hand. Am I going off, as y'all put it? I got more to say about that. Now, you can pause the video if you want and give me an answer in the comments. It don't even matter. As long as you respond to it, that's good enough for me. But what I'm getting at is that if you believe that's some sort of, wayward behavior we're possessing, if we were to do that, what about when we came over here, we were stripped of everything? Our heritage, our language, how we speak, everything. By you and GMS and some of these other Israelite groups, by you then changing your name to a Hebrew name, are you moving too fast? Are you being defiant? Are you telling the Lord, I know I was sent here and these names were given to me by my parents, but with with all that was done to us, that these are not really our names, so I'm going to take it upon myself to change my name. Is that being defiant as to what the Lord put you in by changing your name to a Hebrew name at that? And maybe, am I talking, thinking too deep? Or are these valid points that I'm making? Don't tell me I'm being over righteous just to cover your ass. But these are valid questions, because I mentioned in another video, during the time of Noah, they was doing all sorts of things in those days, and it was various levels of understanding of Scripture. Some was holding to it and some was not, but the Most High killed them all, regardless of your level of understanding and worship and so on. Regardless, it wasn't good enough, and he saved 8 people. And so I'm just, I don't want people such as yourselves, doing things and you self-destructing, if you will, because the Most High is not here. And so you think you got it and you can do what you want to do, even more so others are doing it, and it sounds good, and you stand out amongst all the other, let's say, churchgoers. You stand out. I look better in this light. I was in the dark. Let me hold my phone up a little bit. But yeah, you stand out, right? So, I don't want to see you destroyed unless you need to be destroyed. But take in consideration what I'm asking you. Hold on, I wrote down a couple of other things. Let me see what I got here. Hold on. Let me put my glasses on. I can't even see it. Gotta grab my glasses, son. Hold on. Here's another question for you. I got one. I wrote this down because I wanted to make sure I get to ask you some questions, even though you answered none of them. You say the Lord said, "Come out of her, my people." The ways of this world, Babylon, and turn back to the Lord. Now, outside of Israelites, all these other nations, they're heathens, and there's a lot of us following their ways, their wickedness. And so we do what we gotta do to sustain here and get by, but we try to draw ourselves further and further away at all costs. Well, I'm not gonna say at all costs, but as much as possible where we can, away from this society. We don't want to look like them. We don't want to act like them. We don't want to do what they do, right? So my question is, what about television and movies? Hollywood, that's a wicked entity, just like the music. And I hear a lot of you guys constantly talking about, I watched this movie and I watched that movie. Maybe you're reminiscing about movies that you have watched. But I think a lot of y'all still indulge in television and movies. Now, some things may be necessary to watch, whether you believe them or not, but something like what they call news. That may be something that one need to pay attention to, because you just never know what they may have to say about what's going on around the world. Another thing that I see no problem with, for the most part, is some of the sports that you want to be entertained? Okay, there you go. But movies or reality TV, sitcoms, I really don't think it's a good idea to indulge in something that heathens put together, knowing that they're wicked and they want to mesmerize those who sitting in the screen. You never know nowadays how they do things. You can be watching a show, and next thing you know, they got some homo shit in your face. They got some homo shit in your face. They got some fucking naked women, and all the other things that they influence us with. Remember, we got, most of us, you got weak minds. We're very easily influenced. Very easily influenced. And these crackers, they know that. Why you think they take control over the media, be it television and or the music? Look how they doing with the music. I don't have to explain to y'all. They put bullshit out there, and what the average youngster do? Follow that bullshit. They're motivated by that bullshit. So if they're only talking about eating ass and killing people, then yeah, that's gonna, prompt them to go try to do the very same thing when the moment presents itself. Very easily influenced. So I hope you guys at GMS don't think that you're above that influence, that you've made it to the point where you're so strong. There's nothing wrong with probably confessing that, he ain't gonna get me. But I don't know if that's wise. So I guess to put it in the form of a question, if I haven't already, I'll do it again if I did it already. Why are you guys still watching television? Isn't that poison for your mind? Let me see. I think I got one more question, and then I'll let this one go. This may not even matter, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Because, it's something to think about. I know I looked in the scriptures, and I saw it somewhere. I can't remember. It may be in Leviticus. It may be in that book, where it talks about family. Like, there's mother and father, and then there's the children. The father shouldn't, and you may know where it is, the father shouldn't look at the daughter in that type of manner, touch her, look at her in that way. The son shouldn't look at the mother, in that manner. And the I don't know the terms it used, and this is what I was really like trying to tackle, but it was so much, and I was getting into it, and then I stopped, and I didn't go back to it, but it's always been on my mind. It talks about who can one hang out with, who that person is in the family. Like, for example, I didn't think the term, niece and nephew was a term that they used back in the days, and I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. Aunts and uncles. I think a lot of it was made up. I thought, at least. So I can't remember. I can go back and then I can look at it. But here it is. Here's my question. And once again, it may not be here or there, as far as it ain't got nothing to do with your salvation or anything like that. But if we all come from Adam, right? And of course there's a chosen. And in that day, when the Messiah comes back through, everybody will go to their own nation. Of course, according to scripture, other nations will go into slavery. Some of them will be killed, of course. But let's say we have an Israelite woman, like how things in this society is now. You have an Israelite woman. And she's married to an Edomite. Have babies with that Edomite. Now, when the Messiah comes back, at some point, the Edomites are going to be exterminated. A lot of them are going to be killed right then and on the spot, and probably throughout their existence until they are exterminated. That woman, who's an Israelite, is going to want to save her babies, because more than likely she's not understanding what's going on. Now, I'm getting to my question, but I'm trying to set it up. Now that relationship is over with, and I'm talking about the wicked state of mind, how this society is now. Now here comes an Israelite. He doesn't really know no better. He's dealing with this Israelite woman. She got kids already. Now here he come. Now he dropped seed in her. Now he got a couple of kids by her. Already having an understanding as to who those children are from the white man that this Israelite woman had. Now here's a so-called Israelite man having children with the same Edomite woman. My question is, the Edomite babies coming from the Edomite nutsack, and the Israelite babies coming from the Israelite nutsack, are they now brother and sister because they came through the woman? That's the question. Because we lived in a society where, a lot of us have siblings who have different fathers. But we grew up saying, that's my brother and sister. When, my brother, I'm not saying in my personal life, but I'm using it as an example. My brother, whose father is an Edomite, he's really my enemy. I may have to put him down later on. And that's my brother. In this life, in this, just looking at how we grew up and how people think in this society. Now that I have a better understanding, I'm still cautious on how I'm not going to step to one of my relatives and say, you ain't my brother. And that scenario does play out in my personal life. I got a brother from another father. So I brought the situation. He doesn't really understand. I don't even think. I'm not gonna say he didn't understand. He gave no response, but I think I was clear on what I thought. So, what do you have to say about it? I mean, I understand Esau and Jacob coming out of the same womb, that they were brothers. Even more so, they both came from the same nutsack. But what about the case where there's two different nutsacks? One is an Edomite, or one of them other heathen nations, and the other are Israelites. Is an Israelite. Are the baby's brother and sister? I say no. But what say you? All right, I'll leave it right there. Hopefully, one of y'all will pick up what I'm talking about and respond